I want you to take, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes. I want you guys to be talking about those essential questions, having discussions with your table partners or the people around you.
So then this measure, this right here.
What? Yeah.
This measure is the same as the measure of this.
Okay.
So the measure of central angle is equal to the measure of the intersection.
Okay.
All right. So what relationships among arcs and angles are created by tangents to a circle? Yeah, tangents to a circle.
The arcs or the angles would be half the arc of the opposite from the
Yeah, it would be half of that. Okay. So how do I write the equation of a circle if you know its radius and the coordinates of the centers?
We're going to try something a little new this time. We're going to spend a little more time preparing, doing last minute stuff before the exam, before we actually start our exam. So if we look at our learning targets, it ended up that this time we are going over 3 chapters, and there's basically a learning target for each of the chapters. Okay, so they're in order. So the first learning target is chapter 10, then 11, and then 12. I went ahead and typed it up on mine, continuing to edit it up there. Okay, so anyway, what I want you to do first is go ahead and put I want you to tackle those, 6 true falses. You could see the learning target assigned to each, so I want basically 5 for each by the time we get done. So then I'd like you to write your own true or falses, okay? Key them out for yourself, and then we're still going to do one quick Mastery Connect. We're actually going to do this on Mastery Connect before we take the exam, and hopefully that'll give you some information on which targets you're thoroughly prepared for, maybe you've already mastered, versus getting close, versus needing remediation.
Look at learning target number 10 on your paper. Look at learning target number 10 on the blue sheet. You guys with me? Yep. Okay. So if you look at learning target number 10, students will explain how they can utilize refusal skills to help them avoid pressure situations which involve alcohol use. For each unit, we color code our learning guides. Okay, so for each unit, we color code the learning guides so that you guys can see it's easy to find, right? When I color code them for you guys and I say, take this out. So on the learning, what we're doing right now, so you know, and so you know, Sam, ready? You have your learning guide out. You're looking at learning target number 10. Look at the very bottom one. Because this is what we're going to do today. So this is like a warm-up. Ready? So what it says, ready? Get your brain focused on learning today. Number 10 says, students, that's you, will explain how they can utilize refusal skills to help them avoid pressure situation which involve alcohol use. So let's say your goal is to abstain and not use alcohol, and you're put in a pressure situation. What do refusal skills look like to you? And you're putting it down on your blank piece of paper. Okay? What do refusal skills look like to you?
So do you find that the learning guides are helpful for you as a student?
Yeah, in some ways, because they introduce us to the next chapter and let us know what we're going to be learning, and like give you something to study if you're having trouble with the chapter or whatever it is, and it's something to refer to.
And who of your teachers use the learning guide and use it effectively?
I know that Mr. Valley uses them before his chapters in chemistry, and Mr. Franz, I think, uses them the most effectively. We use them with every chapter, write definitions, and he gives us a grade for it. And yeah.
And what do you find the most effective about having like things on one sheet or two sides of a sheet?
It lets you know what to study if you're having trouble. Like, I could easily refer to my learning guide and
let's take a look at the dystopian guide, and for most of you, there is nothing new here except for the free vocab. Please take a look at learning target number 1, even though there's not a number 1 there. I can analyze the impact of the author's choices regarding where a story is set and literary devices used and how it relates to the character's motivation. What have we already looked at when it comes to that particular directive? Ender's Game and Harrison Bourgeois. Okay, now drop down to number 4. Integrate and evaluate different media formats visually and quantitatively to address a question. What have we already looked at?
Harrison Bourgeois.
Harrison Bourgeois, the movie, which was 28 minutes long, and
Ender's Game.
Ender's Game, which was
Roughly an hour and a half.
yeah, too bad. All right, okay. Next up, look at number 5 through 7. I can draw inferences from fictional texts. I can work with peers to promote civil, democratic discussions. And then the last one, I can digitally present organized information. That's happening with what? UEG, Unified Earth Government. Gosh, you guys are like right on.
Okay. So the next thing is I want you to notice the 9 justices, okay, and so there's going to be some lady justices, so you can add hair if you want to when we get there, okay. However, where they fit on the spectrum is going to be really important as we go. So you can't just start randomly. Notice on one side it says left, and the other side it says right. That's talking politically. So we've talked a little bit about the political spectrum. So left are going to be more liberal in their ideology, and that's going to tie back to what we've been talking about what's the appropriate checks and balances and limited and energetic government. So that whole federalist, anti-federalist argument about what you think the role of government is. It's also going to do with their feelings on the vocabulary we haven't done yet, which is judicial activism and restraint. And so by placing them where they go on the spectrum, you're going to be able to visually look at it and figure out the tendency of the court.
Alright guys, please go ahead and get out your grade trackers. Flip them over to the back, to the side that has your learning target self-evaluations.
Today. We're hitting number 33, which is I can write informative text by selecting and organizing content by starting with outline. So last quarter we were working on reading those texts and looking at the organization. This quarter you're going to be working on selecting it and organizing yourself for writing purposes. So go ahead and self-assess with the red, yellow, or green where you're at with that skill. So number 33. And we're also going to go ahead and hit learning target number 5, which is I can produce clear and coherent writing that is appropriate to task, purpose, and audience. Today you're writing a paragraph about Romeo's use of figurative language in the balcony scene. So go ahead and self-assess how confident you feel with that ability of writing that expository paragraph.